Alright, about face. Whoa, too much.
Sir, Alpha Company, all present and accounted for.
Alright, post. Alright, outstanding. Welcome. Welcome to June. Welcome to most of us the summer time frame. Unless you live in the southern hemisphere and enjoying the start of winter maybe. Month of May was satisfactory. I mean, nothing really special in May. We conducted quite a few combat operations and combat patrols. But overall, I mean, we statistically knew May is more of what we call a downer month, with our high school, our college soldiers getting done for the summer. Had a couple LOAs because of that for finals, and moving maybe back home, or moving to somewhere else besides their college or their dorms. So. Jumping into June is going to be hopefully a brush, or I should say a rush of fresh air. Being able to get obviously our combat ops. We started a couple. Well, I have quite a few announcements for a couple changes coming on over this summer. Some here in June, some in July. Some, obviously change is not exactly the easiest thing to navigate through. But with our current leaders and our soldiers that are here, I think is going to be a smooth transition. Being able to have these new soldiers, new leaders come up into their new roles. Current leaders that are in roles help strengthen, obviously, that bench. So we have a couple announcements in being squad leads changing. We do have some DMOSs that we're also going to be talking about on some fronts of NCOIC's hiring process that we'll be looking into. So, but first, I usually like to start off with, for the month of June, our anniversaries of those soldiers that hit either 1, 2, 3, so 4 years on into our unit. This month of June.
Requesting permission to fall in.
Yep, falling. We have 3 in the month of June here. One with Snyder, who actually just hit his 1 year, June 4th, so yesterday. We have Corporal Crawford, who on June 11th will achieve his 1 year anniversary with the unit. And then our very own Platoon Sergeant, Sergeant First Class Tucci, will be hitting his 2 year here on June 21st. So those are the June anniversaries. 2 out of 3, so Crawford, Snyder, you'll be getting a PM from myself in regards to getting some mailing information so that you can get sent your 1 year unit anniversary gift. We sent out, I believe, 3 or 4 last month. And I've seen those come through and got notified that most of them made it so far. I mean, it's just one of those special things that makes us pretty unique. New soldiers that come in always find that pretty unique that we give out anniversary gifts. Something that we've been starting to do now for probably 2 years, for sure, probably 1.5 years, but I'm pretty sure 2 years that we've started thinking of this, and just showing that extra appreciation to soldiers that serve with us. As we understand that this is a hobby, this is milsim gaming. We all have seen how quick somebody can join our unit and then we never see them again. So just the appreciation for the dedication, the longevity to hit 1 year is pretty significant in the online world of being a part of a community, as there are lots of options for others to go pick from. So showing that appreciation that they chose to stay with us, and hopefully hit a couple of those other marks, like the 3 year we give out another anniversary gift, the 5 year we give out another anniversary gift, and then it goes up every 5 years from there. So being able to give those out, have those soldiers, share that they got them, maybe what it were. It's pretty known really now what the 1st year anniversary gift is. But it's still a symbol of our unit and what we stand for as the 3rd Infantry Division. So with that, so we just talked about the anniversaries. Let's talk about our new soldiers that enlisted in the month of May. So a good chunk of soldiers. Some of you are already in this formation with us today. We have Brighton, Tiger, Crafty, Brooks, Phillips, Kennedy, Miracle, Livingston, Dale, Kit, Hayes, Bottom, Miller, and Shu. All are currently enlisted with us. We did have a couple drops already, and I know a few even on that list unfortunately probably won't make it through the week. And that's just the world we live in, unfortunately, with Milsim Gaming, which is why it's so vital to have solid fire team leaders, solid battle buddies to these soldiers, solid recruiters that's going to stay in contact and guide these through. We're not naive. We know we're not going to keep every single soldier that enlists in our unit. In the 19 years that we're coming up on as a unit, we've honestly probably pushed through thousands, if not 10,000 people. And it's nice to have our website. Unfortunately, we don't have like all the data from prior websites to see, how many soldiers have enlisted with us, but you can see just in, on average, it's about 150 to 200 a year that enlist with us. And you kind of see our size generally around that 50 to 70 range. It fluctuates here and there. We go up, we go down. So it's really up to us as leaders, up to us as, like I said, that fire team leader is really that first line leader that interacts with that new soldier, the squad leader, all the way up to myself, making sure that we are welcoming our new soldiers, making them feel comfortable, making them feel that they're a part of our community, part of our team and our family here, to want them, to make them want to stay with us, want to interact with us, joke around. I see some pretty good camaraderie on our Discord involving some of our new soldiers, but that's also a double-edged sword, as some things are said also that turn our new soldiers away pretty quickly. So we gotta really monitor that as leaders, and individuals as well. So if you haven't introduced yourself or said hello to these new soldiers, to have about a dozen new soldiers in the month of May is pretty successful. Definitely with it being a downer month in recruitment, in activity, because of what I explained earlier with, end of school and what all comes of that. So if you're not, make sure you say hello to them. FIG, we also announced FIG courses for the upcoming month here. So in the month of June, already here next weekend, we have a Combat Lifesaver course starting June 10th. We have an Advanced Radio course starting June 18th. The 173rd, our sister unit that we operate with, that we conduct airborne school with and ranger school with, we have a airborne school run by them on their servers, their TeamSpeak, June 22nd. And then we also have at the end of the month a 68 Whiskey Combat Medic course coming up June 25th. So if you haven't already, I know we will be looking for potentially a new platoon RTO, which I'll explain later. Abel's not leaving, he's just getting moved. But being able to slide into that slot, you're going to want to make sure you hit that advanced radio course to have a chance. If you're looking to become a medic in the unit, obviously the first step is get through CLS, Combat Lifesavers course, so that you're qualified to take the 68 Whiskey course at the end of June. And then Airborne's Airborne. We run it pretty frequently. It's a fun course. The 173rd does it a little different than us. None of them are wrong. They still qualify. But really, it's just the experience that you get from each one. And then students must already have our Airborne qualification to go attend the 173rd, just so that you understand their basics. So And then we'll announce it here in July as well, but you've probably seen some postings. Ranger School is coming up here in July. I think it's more towards the end of July. And you have to be airborne or air assault qualified to be able to attend Ranger School. So this is your opportunity as well to get out there and, hit up those airborne schools. Air assault, if we run it here in July, I'm not sure on the FIG schedule, but that would be first sergeant's area to ask. But you just have to be qualified in one of those and go take a look on the forums and sign up. Without further ado, I see neither of these two are in formation, just looking at TeamSpeak here. We have Private Dio and Corporal Marsh. They're our first awardees of June. Both are being awarded the Military Outstanding Volunteer Service Medal for donating $50 or more in the calendar month of May. In month May, we took in $170 into our unit fund. 100 of that came with Private Dio's donation, so he's earning this award with Valor for donating $100 in the month of May, or in one calendar month. And then Corporal Marsh, who's currently on LOA, deployed to Qatar. Actually, is hopefully on his way home here in the next couple days, or at least back to his base in the U.S. here. But he donated $70 in the month of May as well. So he's one that constantly donates as well, as that's how he's supporting the unit while on deployment for military. So if you see both of these soldiers, thank them. Our unit fund is huge to our success. Being able to obviously afford our servers, our websites, and most recently with our unit fund, that's what funds our unit gifts as well. So a big thank you to these two soldiers. Cool. All right. Next up, Livingston, if he's present. I don't see him. Private Livingston enlisted with us in the month of May. He is a U.S. Army veteran and has served in the United States Army for multiple years from what I saw, as well as other forces. If I recall, it was he served in the U.S. Army and then overseas as well in a foreign European military, I thought, as well. But if you see him, thank him for his service. He's being awarded the National Defense Service Medal, which is only awarded to soldiers that have served their nation. So, cool.
Cool.
All right. If I can get Sergeant Ivan and Sergeant Garcia post. It's not good. My throat's already drying up. I barely have been talking. Considering what's left. Alright, about face. Alright, these two soldiers are one that we rely on heavily. They are constantly up here receiving the Humanitarian Service Medal, and without a doubt, once again, these soldiers, for sure, I think they've been up here every month so far this year. But they're on track to knock off First Sergeant, I think, as the top soldier with Humanitarian Service Medals. But this is awarded for clans list voting consistently 2 times a day, every single day, 30 days in a row. It's a rolling calendar. These soldiers achieve 60 votes every month, it seems, and they're constantly up here. Clans list is a big recruitment tool for us in terms of just being public out there. People see that we're constantly at the top. They think, oh boy, these guys are pretty good. They're always at the top of this list. Some of you in this formation today have found us via clans list. It's one of the things that we track as RRO on, how did so-and-so hear from us? And then that's where we're going to put a little bit more focus. A Google search, not much we can do with that, but found us on clans list or found us from a Discord conversation. Or a Steamed conversation. So these two sergeants, lead by example. Not only are they NCOs, but they also make sure that they are helping the way they can in the recruitment process without being a recruiter. Everybody in this unit should have that mindset. Everybody in this unit should be a recruiter. In general, of getting out there, contacting, saying hello, guiding people to our website, to our unit. The recruiter itself is the one that would be going through the NSOs and the processing the applications, but really just getting out there and being what I could technically call a brand ambassador. You're an ambassador to our unit and helping us grow. So, and that's exactly what these two NCOs do for us monthly or daily. So, all right, congrats. All right, about face. Thanks again, Sergeants.
Major.
Fall back in. Look at that synchronous. All right, this next list is a little big. Probably a good chunk of you will move forward. So we have Lieutenant Drake, Abel, Ivan, Winters, C. Winters, make that, Scanar, Snyder, Cola, Gray, D. Frost, Fives, Kidden, Kelso, Kalen, Lockton, and Dio. Post. All right, Buffers. Beautiful. All right. These soldiers are hereby being awarded the Good Conduct Medal. Good Conduct Medal, for those that don't know, is awarded every 3 months of service within our unit. So this can be awarded once a quarter, 4 times a year, for doing what you signed up to do. That's be present, be active, TPR when you're not going to be here, be accountable. It's really a 100% accountability award, if you think about it. So being able to sign up, do what you say you're going to do, honor your commitments, and have good service. Meaning you're not in trouble. You don't make issues, things like that. So continue to do this, and you'll find yourself up here every 3 months. So congratulations. Cool.
Cool.
Buffers. Fall back in. All right. Next up, if I can get Snyder, Tham, Dio, and Newman. Post. Buffers. All right, Specialist Tham up here. These 4 soldiers, so Snyder, Tham, Dio, Newman, are hereby being awarded the Air Assault Badge. In the month of May, we ran an Air Assault course, and these 4 were the sole graduates for their first time, skill badge. So congratulations. Buffers qualifies them for Ranger School, hopefully. Congratulations, Tham. Fall back in. If I can get Williamson, Brighton, Crafty, Brooks, Stevens, and Brady. Post. Up here further. You're lining up with. There you go. All right, Buffets. These 2 soldiers, in fact, I think Gray, you posted. I think I said Crafty or Brady.
Oh, okay. I apologize. I thought I heard you.
No worries. Go ahead, follow. I'm like, wait a minute, you're not on my list. We got an imposter. All right. So with who do I got? Private Williamson up here with us. Him and his fellow 5 others are hereby being awarded their Combat Infantry Badge Stage 1. So those that don't know, we are currently deployed. So every combat mission that you attend, definitely your first one. In this case, all these are privates or private first classes. So that's pretty evident that they joined us within the month of May, or had their first combat mission in the month of May. So being awarded their first stage. We award these stages per operation, not mission. So the next available option to get stage 2 would be within whatever next combat deployment we may do after Operation Blue Giant here. So, congratulations on achieving your first hardware. Hua.
Cool.
All right, Bellface PFC. Congrats for not dying. Well, maybe you did. I don't know, but fall back in. Holmes, post if he's present. I do not see him on TeamSpeak list. So Specialist Holmes is hereby. Oh, Holmes or Gray?
No, I'm scared for sure.
Oh, where the hell are you on my list? Oh, there you are, right under Babel. All right. Wrong button. Nope, really wrong button.
Yeah, everything's had to reconfigure on me.
All right, go ahead, Buttface. You have to make sure you're up here next time. All right. Specialist Holmes is hereby being awarded the Combat Medical Badge Stage 2. You're echoing. There you go. So just like the CIB, this is awarded once per combat operation. In this case, Specialist Holmes moved into the combat medic role once again. So being able to achieve medical greatness and keep us upright. I know I heavily rely on our combat medical team, as I'm constantly hit. Just just stay around me for a couple seconds, and you'll notice that I'm on the ground pretty quickly. So, big thank you to our medical team, and then Specialist Holmes for keeping us safe. Hello. Buttface. There you go. Congratulations. Fall back in. Alright, next up, if I can get Bird, Brighton, and Jordal, post. PFC. There you go. Alright, about face. Alright, so these 3 soldiers are hereby being promoted for their very first time within our unit outside of a training environment to Private First Class E3. This is their first step into really their career within our unit. I love promoting soldiers to Private First Class just for the sheer fact this is their first one. This is their first time up here. Probably a little nerve-wracking for some, but being able to, open their eyes to what is ahead of them is really going to be key. As a PFC, now technically you qualify for more DMOS duties within our admin side of our unit, but as well as could potentially be selected as a fire team leader. So it's your first step into potential leading troops as well. To achieve PFC, it's more of a time in service, time in grade, I guess, waiting period. However, as well, to even qualify, we do have some voting things in there. All soldiers that want to get promoted, we have a voting requirement of a certain degree that's posted on our website under our ranks page. Again, it's just that vital. We can't rely on just our 2 to 3 soldiers that vote every single day that are constantly up here. It's all of us. So, and PFC is really the start. So, congratulations on achieving PFC. Cool. All right, Bellface. Congratulations, soldier. Fall back in. All right, next up, if I can get Pendergast, T. Simmons, Bills, and D. Frost. Scanar, somebody told me that they have 25,000 points. Alright, about face. Alright, we have Specialist Frost here in front of us. All 4 of these soldiers are hereby being awarded the Armed Forces Service Medal. for service within a specific DMOS for 6 months. So in this case, we got Pendergast being awarded for Intel, S2, Simmons for FIG for 6 months, Bills and Frost here, both distinguished for public affairs for the last 6 months. So this is just serving in a DMOS. Being able to have that longevity is vital to all our DMOSs, but then also hopefully within that 6 months, we've seen them up here for something like a JSAM or a Joint Service Accommodation or something like that for achieving within those DMOSs. So congratulations, 6 months is a heck of a long time. If you think about it on online gaming wise. So, and we appreciate your admin side of the unit. So, hua.
What? What?
Bellface.
What?
Thanks, specialist. All right, fall back in. All right, next up, if I can get McKinsey, Lewis, now Gray, Williams, Kidden, and Gregor. Post. That was D. Williams, not Williamson, just to make sure. Kidden, Gray, and Lewis. Alright. Alright. About face? Alright, so these soldiers are hereby being awarded the Army Achievement Medal, and each one has a little bit of a citation, so bear with me. Specialist McKinsey, who's not currently present, for being excellent and active Alpha team leader, and for the help he provided in training of our detachment. His expertise is beyond excellence within his squad. We then have Sergeant Lewis, which is present, for being an excellent 2IC of the squad and playing an active support role in the positions wherever most needed. Specialist Gray, which is currently, I'm recommending the specialist for his good sense of leadership in the case where I found myself, I assume the squad leader, unable to lead the team. He is quick to inform leadership and lead the team to a defensive posture so that we can get fixed up. He also has done a great job filling in on other vital roles within the squad when the time calls for it. Outside that, I'm very happy with him in my team and within our squad. We have PFC D. Williams covering fire while the majority of Ghost Squad was down due to a mass CAS incident that took place or took out almost all of Alpha teams besides one soldier. He also consolidated casualties as he covered another soldier and provided medical attention to the wounded. The blast and blasted about 3 enemies who charged towards us. So being able to have that one, I mean that one's an Army Achievement Medal with C device for combat. We then have Specialist Kidden during Operation Bloody Kennel. Didn't hesitate to take over Phoenix's Alpha Fire Team while his fire team leader was acting as SL. He adapted to these situations on the spot and immediately started coordinating the team with the other FTLs while his other FTL was not present. It's not the first time that the specialist has done that, making him a very reliable 2IC to Phoenix 1. So the 2IC to a IC already, so that's outstanding. That's called bench, that's development. So that one's also awarded with C device for combat. We then get Specialist Grigor is an effective soldier while being balanced in combat and medical knowledge. He has yet again proven both his combat and medical skills while on Patrol 4, where he was able to single-handedly immobilize a BMP that caused a mass casualty of 2 fire teams within 2 different squads, and was able to save and stabilize most of the soldiers who were incapacitated due to the BMT's advancement towards our American forces. Prior to this, he was able to provide medical treatment to soldiers who were critically incapacitated under heavy AA fire prior to squad medics arriving to the scene and establishing a CCP. So you can kind of see how each of these, each 5, really, the basis of it is leadership. being out there and taking care of your troops, taking care of those around you, regardless of if they are your troop. They may not be assigned to you as a leader, and you don't necessarily need to be a leader. As you've seen, we have a couple being awarded for just being a fire team member. So achieving the Army Achievement Medal is extremely honorable for all 5 of these. So, congratulations.
Whoop.
All right, about face. Congrats, soldiers. Keep doing what you're doing. Fall back in. Next up, if I can get Kelso, Newman, and Dio. If present. I don't think any of them are. Alright, these 3 soldiers are hereby being promoted to the grade and rank of E4 Specialist, entering the E4 Mafia. So it's kind of funny that they're not present, because it's hard to find no, I'm joking. Being an E4 Mafia basically just means that you are part of our Specialist Corps. They're really our unsung heroes, those that can step up into any position needed. They're no longer a private, and they're just under, that honorable NCO slot. But it's one that we rely on heavily. They really maintain the unit as morale and how things go. And adding 3 more soldiers to that is phenomenal. Being able to, have more specialists is not a bad thing. But they really are our gangsters, or wannabe gangsters. So, congratulations to these 3 for achieving specialist. Oh. Let's see. Next up, if I can get, I got myself, Cooper, Bills, Paz, Kidden, Snyder, and D Frost post. Alright, Buffets. Alright, so these, 7 soldiers are hereby being awarded the Armed Forces Expeditionary Medal. So these soldiers have achieved 12 months, 365 days time in service since their last one, or this might be their first Armed Forces Expeditionary Medal. It's awarded every 12 months with a deployment within there. So last month we were able to have myself, Cooper, Bills, Paz, Kidden, Snyder, and Frost. In this case, Snyder just came in yesterday, so he qualified for his time in service of 1 year. But that's really what it is. It's serving within a deployment, showing that longevity. You can see there's a wide berth of ranks here from myself, a couple NCOs, a couple specialists coming in and holding down those slots. But a big congratulations for earning your Armed Forces Expeditionary. Cool.
Whoop.
All right, Bellface. Congratulations. Fall back in. All right. Oh, bump my mouse. Next up, if I can get Specialist 5s post. All right, Buffets. All right, Specialist 5s is hereby being awarded the Joint Service Achievement Medal, the JSAM, for work within his DMOS, for outstanding performance within Force Improvement Group, serving as a range safety officer, drill instructor, EIB co-instructor. Specialist 5s has provided solid instructions to trainees in a large number of courses. His work has contributed to the high standards of our Force Improvement Group. I was a part of that EIB. I've oversaw a couple others, and I can't agree anymore. Just the high standards that the specialist here has for himself, as well as those that he trains and teaches, is second to none. So very well earned, and congratulations, specialist. Oh.
Whoop. Oh.
Right. Bellface.
Thank you, sir.
Good
Cool.
soldiers follow orders.
Fall back in. And next up, if I can get Sergeant Ivanum, post. Alright, Buffers. Alright, Sergeant here is hereby being awarded the Army Commendation Medal, the ARCOM, for his followers for meritorious service while serving as first squad leader, acting squad leader, during Staff Sergeant Vandal's military LOA. So the last month or so here. The Sergeant has led Scorpions from the front with exceptional dedication to his men, successfully developing new soldiers, building the squad's combat power. He has led the element in the field very effectively and throughout this past month. Recommended and highly approved is something that Sergeant does here. To be able to go in and take over a squad as a 2IC is not exactly hard, or I should say not exactly easy. It is hard, and being able to succeed in that role. We've seen some 2ICs over my career crumble under the pressure of finally getting their chance into that squad lead slot, whether that's the squad leader retired or in this case an LOA, which seems to be the most common, luckily. But something that we see all the time lately, and you hit it out of the park in this last month of May with the Staff Sergeant's LOA. So big congratulations and well earned.
What?
All right, Buffface. Congratulations. Fall back in.
Thank you, sir.
All right. If I can get Lieutenant Drake, post. Lieutenant. There you go. All right, a Buffface. All right, the lieutenant here is hereby being awarded the Joint Service Commendation Medal for as follows. Lieutenant Drake continues for continued efforts within our Corps of Engineers. With his pending retirement, Lieutenant Drake has been working diligently to type up step-by-step instructions for our unit's infrastructure to ensure our unit remains fully running smoothly upon his retirement. This is something that I didn't even think of. It's something that he brought to me, thinking it's not the end of the road for the lieutenant. He's not just cutting and drying and going on and going into his new civilian gigs, which is what really pending this retirement for. But he's making sure he's taking care of us, and that's leadership. Making sure that everything that he's built over his career for the last several years of this tour and multiple years prior to that, he wants to make sure that our unit is taken care of, that the unit that he's dedicated a lot of time to is still around after he retires and enjoys that jello on Thursdays from the retirement home. But a big thank you to the lieutenant here. The way those instructions are typed up, now many of you don't see those because they're part of our Corps of Engineers, but it's something that'll make myself more comfortable with losing somebody such as the lieutenant with his technical knowledge. And of course, he's offered to make sure that if I do mess something up, he's only a text away, which is a comfortable feeling for myself and Corporal Skinar, who's our NCOIC of COEs. So being able to make sure those I's are dotted, T's are crossed are a great feeling. So a big thank you to you, Lieutenant. Oh.
What?
All right, about face. Fall back in.
Thank you, Major.
Thank you. All right, next up, if I can get Warrant Officer Candidate McMahon. Post. All right. Buffface. All right, Warrant Officer Candidate. I no longer want to call you Warrant Officer Candidate. You are hereby called Warrant Officer 1, McMahon, from now on. completing Warrant Officer School as of yesterday. Usually it's a capstone promotion, field promotion. Talking with Lieutenant Frost, we decided let's get it out here in front of all her peers to, congratulate her on completing a very difficult course. Obviously, it is one that requires a certain amount of skill to be able to pilot. One that is never really mastered. We joke around a lot with 3 cab, and being able to have that camaraderie respectfully is the way to go, and being able to make sure that we have quality pilots, that's very vital to our success as ground infantry, to have pilots that can get us there and pick us up and drop off stuff, and be able to have really just that asset in the air is extremely vital to our success on the ground. So being able to see pilots come in, we have a couple pending that are going to start Warrant Officer School. That is something also that I want to take a plug in for 3cab. If you're interested in being a pilot and you're currently in our infantry side of the unit, please reach out to your first line leader so that we can start that process. They are accepting applications for pilots. As right now, they do have one on LOA. Really, if you look at it, I think it's McMahon and Lieutenant Frost that are our qualified pilots right now. That requires a lot of dedication on their part to make sure somebody, if both of them really, are present to be every weekend for our missions or patrols. So a big thank you to Warrant Officer 1 here, and congratulations. Oh.
Whoa. Whoa.
All right, about face. Congrats.
Thank you.
Fall back in. All right, next up. There it is. If I can get Corporal Snyder, which is not present. All right, Corporal Snyder here is hereby being awarded what I call the Enemy's Marksmanship Badge, also known as the Purple Heart, for wounds received and military merit during mission Blind Gate during the platoon's assault on Objective Daisy. Corporal Snyder suffered debilitating wounds within a firefight and was incapacitated during a partial of the assault. Upon medical aid, the corporal continued his support of platoon combat operations with critical medical aid in setting up CCPs and ensuring combat lifesavers were effective in his duties. In this case, I was present during that. Corporal Snyder, I think everything was like a solid red on his body. I remember that. But once he came to, he made sure he turned that focus onto everybody else that was in that mass CAS with us, ensuring that he's taken care of as a combat medic, ensuring that he's taken care of other combat lifesavers as well as the soldiers around him. Really earned him that Purple Heart. So, congratulations to him. Hua. All right, next up, if I can get First Sergeant's not here, Tucci, post. All right, about face. All right. So the First Sergeant and Sergeant First Class here are really our senior leader NCOs. They are constantly involved in day-to-day operations of our unit, the admin side, of course, as well as the combat leadership side. So I'll start off with Sergeant First Class, since he's in front of us. Sergeant First Class, since stepping into the platoon sergeant role, has led with outstanding combat leadership, commitment to the platoon, starting in January of 2022, when he first took over this role. Over 6 months, the Sergeant First Class has worked hard in his position, whether this is through in-game leadership or dedication to providing detailed and quality after-action reports. This soldier has proven he is an exceptional leader. He works closely with all members of 1st Platoon Widowmakers, especially our squad leaders, and are taken care, that our squad leaders are taken care of, and have everything, they need to excel in their roles and duties. As platoon, as a platoon sergeant, we can trust that everything is done correctly and on time without issues in anybody's absence. So overall, keeping maintaining the excellence level that you're at, we look forward to the future things that Sergeant First Class Tucci will bring to the platoon and our unit. With this, we're awarding him and First Sergeant the Meritorious Service Medal for their service so far in their roles. We have First Sergeant, practically the same damn thing. No, I'm joking. Stepped into his role as First Sergeant and has led outstanding. He's committed to the company again since January of 2020, so 6 months in his role of extreme leadership. He's worked very hard in his position to provide quality reports to myself and counsel to our command staff team, leading our soldiers in FIG as the NCOIC, and providing great training there. He leads our NCOs and takes care of everything and anything they may need to be vital to their duties. As First Sergeant, again, you could trust. I put my trust for sure in him and faith that things will be done correctly and on time without issues. So to have both these NCOs excel in their positions is the reason our NCO Corps is extremely solid. Is the duties and the relationships that these two have done throughout their role in the last 6 months. Prior to that, First Sergeant was the platoon sergeant in Tucci's role, and then Tucci was one of our senior squad leaders, which I can't say publicly, but led a pretty good squad. Because all squads are the same to me. That's what I'm saying. That's my official stance. Good job, squads. But jokingly, Tucci leads from the front, and he just loves what he does and is extremely well at it, or extremely good at it. So, congratulations to both these soldiers for being awarded the Meritorious Service Medal. Cool. Ballface. Congrats, Sart. Fall back in. All right. If I can get, where'd it go? Specialist Babel post. All right, Bowface. All right, the specialist here is dropping from the E4 Mafia. He was sick of it. So he decided to go on and do better things and join the NCO Corps. He's hereby being promoted to the grade and rank of E4 Corporal. Entering that NCO Corps, he joins a great cast alongside him of NCOs, two which I just talked about being at the top of that. So he has some great role models, as well as a great squad leader and so forth to really follow. And continue on with his NCO Corps. So congratulations on entering that E4 corporal range, and let's see what you could do. Lead from the front and be that NCO that we rely on. Hua. There you go.
Let's go!
About face. You have some cheerleaders, Corporal.
Thank you, Major.
Hua, fall back in. All right. If I can get, I see he fell in, Lieutenant Frost.
Hello.
Come on up, come on down. You're the next contestant. You got to turn your whole body.
Oh,
There you go. All right, about face. All right. So, Lieutenant here, if you were not present at Mission Blind Gate and just happened to look up, you might have heard a lot of zzz, zzz. That was your fearless lieutenant here, dogfighting with an MI-8 at close range. It is on video, so it was pretty awesome. If you haven't checked out the YouTube video of Blind Gate, there's two of them out there. One, I believe, is labeled the lieutenant here, Lieutenant Drake, filmed that one, and the fuselage of that destroyed Mi-8 damn near hit him and the team he was with. So it's pretty entertaining. But being awarded with valor the Bronze Star, Lieutenant Frost here, during combat mission Blind Gate, Lieutenant Frost engaged in an aerial dogfight with an Mi-8 at close range while piloting an AH-6 Little Bird. So a Little Bird versus an Mi-8. I don't know what he was thinking. It was more stupidity than anything. But having heard the terror over the radio from his infantry counterparts on the ground, Lieutenant Frost, only having his MH6 miniguns for his offensive attack, engaged with an Mi-8 for several minutes, resulting in multiple hits on the enemy aircraft, sooner or later resulting in the Mi-8 crashing nearby friendly forces on the ground. It was a pretty cool sight. Those that I've talked to about it, and I watched the video again just recently when I was typing up the citation here. It's pretty cool. I would have loved to see it from the cockpit to see what Lieutenant here saw, but it was pretty amazing. Like I said, stupid, but pretty amazing, and that's usually how military awards are given with valor. Is usually something stupid happened and you didn't exactly think of yourself, and that's exactly what the lieutenant here did. Is not think of himself, engage with an Mi-8 in the air with an aircraft that was not suited for it, and somehow came out victorious. He saved us on the ground. I think I recall I rolled up to find the Mi-8 did drop one bomb, and it just so happened to land directly on Sergeant First Class Tucci. So that was entertaining as well. But we got him up, and then got to witness the rest. So congratulations and well earned, Lieutenant. Oh. All right, Buffface. Get out of here, you crazy bastard.
Now in Article 15 for stupidity with an aircraft.
Exactly. That's later, Lieutenant. That's later. All right. Just checking, making sure. I got one more and then some announcements. Lieutenant Drake post. All right, above us. All right, so as I mentioned earlier, Lieutenant Drake here is pending a retirement. Officially, we have the month of June here to coordinate some, I guess, administrative matters and selection. We have gone through and conducted our vetting and interviews, and we have all that figured out. So I'll announce that here in a little bit of everything. Lieutenant here will have the next 30 days to get his affairs in order and figure out how he's going to still support us as a retired soldier. But with that, I'd like to award the lieutenant here the Defense Superior Service Medal, the DSSM, which is a pretty rare medal. The Defense Superior Service Medal is specifically intended to recognize exceptional dedicated service and to honor an individual's accomplishments over a sustained period of time. Traditionally, that's about a 5-year time frame. So obviously that dedication there. In this case, the lieutenant currently has 2 years and some change on this tour, as well as, again, multiple years on a prior tour. Just with his dedication that he's had in the total of all his tours, Lieutenant has served in almost every leadership position there was within our unit. In this last tour, being in all leadership roles, starting as a fire team leader when he came out of retirement to join us again. But that also included being a platoon sergeant, the first sergeant, and the platoon leader, on top of several other DMOS leadership roles. So the service that we've gotten from the lieutenant is, again, second to none. You could check out his personnel file and see his accomplishments, the things he's led. Recently in this year has asked even for more, including a couple other DMOSs which he took on. So, I mean, having a soldier like him within our DMOSs, within our platoon leadership and just unit leadership in general is what propelled us in the last couple of years. was his guidance as well, and everything that he's brought to us. So a big congratulations, soldier that will be missed. In July here, we'll hold the official retirement ceremony. But I wanted to make sure that he kind of has that goodbye tour time frame. So congratulations, Lieutenant. Hua.
Hooah.
Thank you, Major.
All right, Buffface. All right, fall back in. Next up, if I can get, let's see, Poltrack, Abel, Skinar, Errors, post. All right, Buffface. All right. So first here, we have a couple shifting, I guess, things around. So first off, we have Staff Sergeant Poltrack here, which has come upon some difficult times of commitment, knowing that he's currently our 3rd squad leader. The first thing as a leader that you have to assess is yourself, besides assessing your teams. He's took it upon himself to recognize that the time commitment for his role, he has, but is in the future here cannot maintain that. So with that, the Staff Sergeant is hereby requesting to move into our reserve section during this difficult stretch. So with that, he'll take his non-punitive demotion to Specialist to enter that E4 Mafia again. It's been a hot minute since those days, huh, Poltrack? And then being able to move into that reserves so that he could support our platoon when he's able with that. With that, speaking of when able, we have Sergeant Abel here, the former squad leader of 3rd Squad, who's currently serving as our platoon RTO. He, since coming out of retirement, has held that slot. He's the one that kind of makes sure Shade doesn't get killed all the time, so we're going to see Shade dead more, I think. But with that, the Sergeant is moving back into Widowmaker 3 slot as a Sergeant, and going to be leading that. Within that 3rd Squad, though, we have a couple shakeups with Corporal Skinar moving back to, it's like a boomerang a little bit, back to Platoon Readiness NCO to take on the vacant slot of our S2 Zeus. So between First Sergeant himself, Corporal Skinar, and then Staff Sergeant Pendergast will be the ones making and executing our combat missions and patrols under the leadership of Staff Sergeant Pendergast as our NCOIC, First Sergeant as our senior intel analyst, and then Corporal Skinar here will be joining as a analyst as well, making sure that our combat operations are fun. With that, as one enters reserves, we are pulling one out. Finally, the moves of Sergeant Ayers back to the United States and out of the military right now, Sergeant.
Yeah, I'm out.
So now out of being active duty in the U.S. Army over in the beautiful country of Italy, he's now back stateside. During this process is why he had to go into reserves in the first place. He will be taking that slot of Corporal Skinar as the fire team leader under Sergeant Abel. So I find that to be a pretty good flux. You have 2 solid NCOs leaving that squad and 2 solid NCOs entering that squad. Both have vast knowledge of their current new roles as well as the roles that they're vacating. So a lot of change here in 3rd Squad. 3rd Squad is one that is very important to our platoon's effectiveness, being our weapons squad. So being able to have soldiers that understand that and what their mission is. On top of that is retention within that squad. Soldiers have, a lot of things coming, a lot of things that they have to do. So congratulations to all 4 of these, all 4 solid leaders. I look forward to seeing platoon with Corporal Scanar joining, the 2 NCO sergeants here moving into that squad, and then seeing Sergeant Poltrack when you're around, being able to provide that guidance that you've always done as a solid squad leader. So, congratulations to all 4. Cool.
Oh,
All right, about face. Congratulations, soldiers. Make me proud. Fall back in. All right. So with that, I have a couple announcements in NCOICs. So we recently had Sergeant Cooper step down as the PAO NCOIC. And with Poltrack leaving as our NCOIC of RRO, we'll be looking for those 2 NCOIC slots. I've reached out to a few to gauge interest, so if that's something that you are interested in, again, obviously, you have to be currently in that DMOS. You have to, hopefully have showed great strides within that DMOS, and be able to, take that and run with it. Our NCOICs are really runs these DMOSs. Both, in my opinion, are extremely vital to the success of our unit. Definitely that PAO and RRO specifically. PAO really attracts people to us. RRO goes out and grabs them and brings them in. As I said before, everybody's a recruiter, but everybody's a brand ambassador in our unit. So that makes our RRO job hopefully a little easier. We don't grow and we don't replace those that unfortunately can't be with us without a solid recruiting and retention or a public affairs. So if you're interested, please reach out to myself, as we will be moving through figuring out those next stages here in June. As I mentioned earlier, with the pending lieutenant's retirement, we do have our 2 soldiers selected that are going to be moving up in July here. So I'll announce those today. We have Sergeant First Class Tucci is taking on the reins of OCS here. Not yet. We'll be doing the official ceremony here in July, but I wanted to get that out so that everybody knows that we're not doom and gloom with the lieutenant retiring. We have very capable leaders moving up. It's really that next man up, but not necessarily just the next man or person up. It's the next quality and the next person ready. It's not about just wanting it. It's making sure that they can maintain and handle it. And that's something that I know Sergeant Tucci is able to do. Move up into that OCS and Officer Corps, getting to work a little bit more one-on-one with myself, which while talking to him is something that throughout his career we really haven't done too much of. While he was a platoon sergeant, he dealt more with the lieutenant, Drake, and Lieutenant Drake dealt with me. And vice versa, when he was a squad leader, he dealt with First Sergeant a little bit more than myself. So being able to sit down one-on-one, go through his officer training course, and really just getting to know more about each other is going to be awesome. I extremely look forward to that. To replace him, we went through and conducted some vetting. The soldier that is moving up into the platoon sergeant spot is currently our first squad leader, Staff Sergeant Vandal. Staff Sergeant Vandal is currently just coming back from a military LOA, and will be back here after this weekend, I think actually tomorrow. He is one that will bring a vast amount of knowledge to our command staff. Those that don't know, he's currently active duty in the U.S. military, a pretty senior rank officer in the U.S. military. So he'll bring a lot of stability in terms of military tactics and knowledge to a few of us that might not have that. So I extremely look forward to what he's been able to do. Much like Sergeant Tucci, he develops a lot of people under him, including a couple squad leaders that we have right now, and very solid 2 ICs and 3 ICs. He's also one that is a part of myself and First Sergeant's we're creating a squad leader development course, which will be given out to all squad leaders and 2 ICs once we finalize it. And he's a big part of that, along with another soldier, another one of our squad leaders, to make sure that we are there to develop our soldiers and be ready. And that's exactly what Sergeant Vandal is. That's exactly what Sergeant Tucci is ready for these positions. And I look extremely forward to the summer with those 2 in command. So if you see them, congratulate them. It's not happening just yet. Just wanted to get it out there. That's our plan. Be open, transparent about it, and then make sure that we send off Lieutenant Drake here with a big hua here in July. So that's all I have for today. So congratulations to our soldiers. Oh. All right. With that, Lieutenant Drake, post. All right. Take charge. Get our troops ready for combat.
Will do, sir. All right, gentlemen. Congratulations to all who have gotten an award today. Please do wait with your CID requests, or rather, you can put in your CID requests already, but BMO will have to process the ceremony report first, so just be patient for that, and then all your uniforms will be updated, as always. Now, we do have our mission starting in a couple minutes. Actually, leader brief is already in 10 minutes, so I'm not going to keep you any longer. So everybody go grab a drink, go grab a snack, and then most of you, we'll see you back in about half an hour. Squad leaders, we'll see you in about 10 minutes. And that's about it. All right, so thank you all for being here, and I'll see you in a little bit. You are dismissed.
Those full out loading time.
All right. Thanks for everybody that came in. Actually had a good amount, so appreciate everybody that stuck around and said hello and chatted a little bit. Skanar, I guess use those points whenever. As I said earlier, we have Fulberg, I think, is collecting 25,000 points, I was told. So, yeah, we'll see. Utilize at your discretion. That's all I'm gonna say. But other than that, see you in about 15-20 minutes. I'll be booting back up.